The second presentation for the second session today by Gerald Littlefair is on the truth-telling of the Gogulyar Bilya in various ways, and it was mentioned in our previous presentation that correct name for our river, Avon River. Now, have I said that Gogulyar Bilya? Gogulyar Bilya? Yes. I love it. It's so lyrical, the language. It's just beautiful. So, Gerald Littlefair, as Arts and Cultural Heritage Officer for the Shire of York, Gerald works closely with the local community, particularly the Ballardong Noongar people, to support cultural needs and aspirations. Since migrating to Western Australia in 2002 and holding curatorial roles in Toodyay and York, she's been committed to growing the inclusion of Aboriginal cultural heritage in public narratives, a shared journey toward a more inclusive cultural sector. Please welcome Gerald. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Next slide, please. Right, well, firstly, I'd like to acknowledge that we're meeting on Ballardong country and sincerely thank all the Ballardong community, especially those who are participating in this project I'll be describing, as artists and storytellers. I pay my respects to their elders, past, present and emerging. And I have some other thank yous. I'd like to personally thank Dr. Sean Winter, Janet Osborne, Katie Benfield Constable, Jolene Brown, and all the UWA archaeology students who participated, plus Luke Donegan from the DPLH Sites of Truth-Telling project for his support. My most sincere thanks to the funding bodies, without whose grant aid this project would not be possible. The Department of Creative Industries, Tourism and Sport, our major supporter Lottery West, and of course, the Shire of York. So, the issue that we're trying to address in this project is that the strong Ballardong cultural heritage of the York area is not highly visible, which makes the local Ballardong people feel undervalued and marginalised, particularly because York has for many years been celebrated for its historic architecture and settler heritage. This project aims to remedy that by putting Ballardong culture first, through various ways of interpretation. The impetus has come from the local Ballardong community itself, and is centred around the state-registered Aboriginal heritage places of the Gogulyar Bilya, or Avon River, and Marley or Marl Pool. And I'd like to stress that this project isn't a one-off, and it hasn't arisen from a vacuum. The Shire has a good track record of working with the local Noongar community to promote the understanding of Aboriginal cultural heritage through consultation and collaboration. But the project has had a very long gestation period. In 1998 or 9, local Ballardong man Dennis Kickett had the original idea of a river trail. By the Ballardong community, some consultation was done and oral histories were documented. Between 2006 and 2015, at the Shire's Residency Museum, ongoing consultation has resulted in several new displays highlighting Ballardong culture and not shying away from difficult topics. 2015 saw a street furniture interpretive project that highlighted Noongar culture and language. Small, but very noticeable. 2018, the Shire funded the creation of new walk, cycle and drive trail leaflets that feature Aboriginal cultural heritage places, those approved by local elders to include in the public domain. In 2020, the Shire supported UWA's archaeological excavation at the Gerald Mission site through an MOU with UWA regarding heritage research. In 2021, we're gathering pace here, the Shire supported a Noongar cultural heritage survey. This is a rigorous survey to SWALSC and DPLH standards that identified sites of cultural significance in the project area I'm talking about. And we entered a Noongar Standard Heritage Agreement for the area. 2022, A RAP plan was developed, and 23 saw the Shah's Aboriginal Advisory Group formed. 23 and 4, the Shah funded ground-penetrating radar, then exploratory archaeology of a possible Aboriginal burial site identified in the 21 survey. And between 22 and 25, the most recent project, Shah funding and a State Emergency Management Committee grant, enabled an innovative traditional Aboriginal cultural burning project on Shah-managed reserves to facilitate caring for country fire practice revival. It's a pilot project and is now featured as a case study on Reconciliation WA's local government reconciliation resource and has been awarded highly commended in the 2024 Resilient Australia State Local Government Awards. So, Dennis Noongar Kickett, on the left there, who had the original idea for a river trail over 20 years ago, is a York-based, well-known West Australian Aboriginal artist and traditional owner of the area. He put the idea forward through the Aboriginal Advisory Group in 2024 to create a river trail to explore the dreaming story of the Wargle forming the landscape, to promote curiosity, understanding and respect for the cultural tradition, beliefs and fundamental spirituality of the Ballardong people. And the group requested the Shire to seek funding, set up processes for open, transparent and fair invitations to record stories, and provide an independent selection panel for artists. And this is partly because personalities and family discord, as we probably all know, can sometimes hinder projects involving Aboriginal people. And so this is one reason why they wish the Shire to facilitate, to ensure the process was fair, open and transparent. I'm sorry, can we go back? The stories and an archaeological dig have provided inspiration for 9 Ballardong artists who've been commissioned to create new artworks, which will form a new audiovisual Aboriginal River Trail interpretation on the Experience York app, which exists already with other trails on it. And so the oral and visual format of the app hopefully will ensure accessibility to all people, especially those Ballardong people whose country it is. It will also be an important method of promoting understanding of Ballardong culture among a non-Aboriginal audience. And this is phase 1 of a staged project. Phase 2 will consist of transforming the central Wargle story artwork into an animated light projection. And I'm very excited because we've just had the first light projection testing. And sorry, I can't show you because this slide was done before we had our own tests done. But it's something similar to what you might see or have seen in the past at Kings Park or Joondalup. The other artworks will be turned into interpretive signage that link to the films with QR codes by hopefully 2027, plus a new section of trail path. And all content has been determined by the local Ballardong community through consultation. It's the local York Ballardong community who have suggested stories, and they who have decided what stories should be told, those that are suitable for the public domain. Woven around the central dreaming story are many aspects of the river, through dreaming, historic and contemporary Ballardong people's stories. We ended up filming 10 Ballardong elders and community members talking about the river to mark 8 points of interest between Avon Park and Marl Pool. 2 of the stories were drawn from historic sources. One point on the riverbank near Holy Trinity Church will tell the story of Currabeen, an Aboriginal man about whom much was written by Janet Millett, the rector's wife in the 1860s. And the next slide is an extract from the video of local Ballardong man Shane Lee talking about Currabeen. Do we have sound? Motion?
Press again.
Thank you.
Kaya, my name's Shane Lee. I'm a Ballardong man, local to the area. My family is the Bateman family, and here we are today at the Holy Trinity Church in York, just overlooking the Avon River in York as well. So today I'm here to talk about Currabeen, a local Aboriginal man who featured in a book, An Australian Parsonage, written by Janet Millett around the 1860s.
And Michelle Bateman, a local Ballardong artist, was given the commission to depict Currabeen's story. Here she is, holding her picture. She was the first artist to complete her commission. She explains, everything represents him symbolically, from the cloak and ochres he wore to the places that would have been important to him. The painting evolves when you're in the right mindset, and for me, Currabeen represents the traditional Aboriginal culture of York. That's the important thing. The painting is about York. Now, I'm not sure whether you can see this historic map, but it's a plan of the 1851 Gerald Mission. On the east bank, opposite the Marl Pool, is a very significant truth-telling site. The remains of the Gerald Mission, an early 1850s mission run by the Reverend Smithies of the Wesleyan Church. I've already mentioned that the University of Western Australia have a memorandum of understanding with the Shire to facilitate fieldwork and practical experience in archaeology, history and heritage management. PhD researcher Janet Osborne is studying 19th century mission sites and undertook limited archaeological excavations here under a Section 16 permit in 2020, which engaged local elders and community members. Because the mission ruins are inaccessible due to being on private property, the excavation took place nearby on the River Reserve. In that square marked Native Institution. I don't know if you can see it. Well, it's where the blue arrow is pointing to Gerald Mission's site. And so as we come to this slide from the report of the 2025 archaeological investigation that forms part of this River Trail project, I must give you the background. In 2024, the York River Conservation Society were undertaking regenerative plantings on the riverbank when they located this brick feature to the north of the previously investigated area. It appeared to be possibly the well belonging to the Gerald Mission, and perhaps could be the only method of revealing tangible links to a unique and very, very early 1850s Stolen Generations site. So further archaeology was written into the grant application. Also written into the grant application was having an artist in residence at the dig. An amazing opportunity to provide a Ballardong artist with inspiration by working alongside a professional anthropologist and archaeologist and respond to a significant truth-telling site. The selected artist, Michelle Willura, said, "My time as artist in residence at the Gerald Mission site was a profound and educational experience, shaped by both the sorrow of the site's history and the pride I felt in being selected to create artwork for the area. Observing the archaeological and anthropological study, along with learning about the children taken there during the early Stolen Generations, gave me a deeper understanding of the site's significance across its many eras. These insights have now shaped the design and concept behind the artwork I'm developing, ensuring it reflects the full story of the place." And that's a small detail of the early stage of the artwork. Oh dear. Right. The Gerald Mission was established on a 100-acre lot on the east bank of the river in 1851. The mission was run by the Wesleyan minister Smithies as a residential school for approximately 20 Ballardong and Whadjuk Noongar children and young adults. It was a disastrous failure and was abandoned in 1855. This building was made during that period and farming activities undertaken on the site. It's on private property and there is no access. So, the archaeological investigations were undertaken in June 2025, fortunately blessed by good weather, funded by the Department of Creative Industries, Tourism and Sport, and undertaken on behalf of the Shire by UWA and the Archaeological Society of WA. Activities were undertaken under a Section 16 permit because they're registered Aboriginal heritage sites, the river and Marl Pool. And as part of this permit process, a project plan was presented to the Ballardong Aboriginal Corporation Cultural Advice Committee, who gave their support. The dig was overseen by eminent archaeologist Dr. Sean Winter, Ms. Janet Osborne, Ms. Katie Benfield Constable. Labour was provided by students, and all excavations were overseen by Ballardong monitors, with Jolene Brown from Ballardong Aboriginal Corporation actively participating. Only 3 Aboriginal artefacts were identified during these investigations: 2 mullahs and a single platform core, all recovered from rubbish piles and in secondary deposition. The 2 mullahs had likely been reused by farmers as part of dry stone walls, demonstrating the ubiquity of this kind of material within the landscape. So the presence of these artefacts, despite not being in primary deposition, indicate the long use of the riverbank by Ballardong people over millennia. And the findings. Here are some photos from Dr. Sean Winter's report showing the positions of features. As the excavation progressed, the brick feature became more of a mystery, with test areas revealing what appeared to be a cement and brick floor under the vegetation and the entrance to a sloping chute. And the feature was now looking more horseshoe-shaped than round. Jung's law of synchronicity or meaningful coincidences was obviously at work here, as on the last day, Jolene Brown was browsing at a local bookshop and came across a small agricultural manual published in 1908 with a perfect illustration of what we were looking at. As you can see, our well was a sheep dip, likely constructed at the end of the 19th century, but we could be forgiven because it was made from second-hand, hand-pressed, low-fired bricks of the type made in York by convicts in the mid-19th century, in the 1850s and 60s. And when you could only see a portion of the rim, yes, you could be forgiven. A number of artefacts provided dating evidence that suggests the sheep dip postdates the mission and had ceased being used by 1925 at the latest. And disappointing though this was, the Gerald Mission site does contain a range of material culture providing evidence of the occupation of this place by the Ballardong people, including the remains of the mission building. Luke Donegan of the DPLH Sites of Truthtelling project visited York, met with the local community and held a yarning workshop, and he's looking into the possible registration of the Gerald Mission as part of the Sites of Truthtelling project. Now, the rest of the River Trail is a work in progress at the moment. There's nothing to see yet, but all the filming is done, forming a permanent public record of stories with deep cultural significance to Ballardong people. 9 commissioned artworks have been inspired by those stories, 5 completed so far. The rest will be done by NAIDOC Week, when we'll be having an exhibition in York. This slide shows one of the most interesting. I asked brother and sister, elders Laura and Phil Bateman, to talk about their childhood memories of the river. Laura spoke about the innocent childhood pleasures of swimming and playing in the water, But Phil related a macabre tale of finding a dismembered human leg. I'm not going to spoil the story, but you'll have to wait for the app to come out. And this young artist, Callan Cummings, got the commission and I believe has risen to the challenge of combining their stories in one painting. Each artist is being interviewed as they complete their work, so their explanation of their painting it can be added, adding a further layer of understanding. We also commissioned local didgeridoo or yadaki player Darussalam to provide music for the app, and the videographers Edify Media have recorded birdsong and river sounds to be integrated into the films of elders and community members telling their stories. Here, Elder Kevin Fitzgerald talks about the spiritual significance of the river using some Noongar language, and it's hoped that we can obtain another grant in future to translate all the stories into language. On the left is a detail from the painting by Ballardong artist Clive Ryder in Carolup style, evoking the river as he imagines it might have been in pre-colonial times with clear fresh water. So, yet to come. Well, I hope I've given you a taster of what promises to be a major interpretive project for Ballardong country through stories, art, archaeology, history, light and sound. As I say, nothing visible yet, but by the end of this year we hope to have the new river trail up and running on the Experience York app. Next year, through Lottery West support, we'll be developing the lead artwork into a nighttime animated projection of the Wargle in Avon Park. Visually spectacular, it will invoke a sense of mystery as the animation moves the artwork. It's based on local dreaming and utilising the real location of the Wargle as it travels through the Gogulyar Bilya. There could be no better or more respectful homage to a local Aboriginal sacred place. So the other artworks will be used on interpretive signs on the riverbank, and a new section of trail will be created behind Holy Trinity Church. We hope that all these things will enable more pride and connection to culture for local Ballardong people, and the Shire is investing by match funding the grants for this project. And they are in line with the Shire's strategic community plan, which supports Aboriginal-led cultural expression. The latter includes a time-based goal. By the end of June 2030, it states that the aim is that Ballardong culture is respected and integrated into the town's experiences. All involved in this project are committed and strongly believe it will do just that. Thank you.
We're a little proud. Thank you, Littlefair. Some incredible work being done with the Shire of York on this. It's amazing what's coming through.
Sorry, I ran over time.
No, it's perfect. It's perfect. We have some questions from the floor. I'm just going to now. All right.
Looks like the town of York is doing an awful lot to showcase Ballardong history and culture. I'm just wondering, 10 years ago, I was part of a project for dual naming down in Albany. Is that a consideration of the Yorkshire to possibly integrate dual naming throughout the town?
I'm sorry, my hearing isn't very good.
Okay. Just dual naming of streets.
What?
Dual naming for street names and everything, or
dual
areas.
naming.
Yeah.
Yes. Sorry. Yes. We do dual name 3 important landmarks at the moment: the river, Gogulyar Bilya or Avon River, Wongborrel and Mount Brown, and Walwaling and Mount Bakewell. Those are geographical landmarks, and Landgate did issue guidelines for naming of geographical landmarks some couple of years ago. So we did that then. At the moment, those are the only 3 that are formally dual named by the Shire. But hopefully more in future.
Thank you. Any other questions from the floor, folks? Thank you once again. Put your hands together for Carol Littlefair. And fantastic work being done on culture and heritage in the Shire of York.